Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Before we begin, some of you know that I've got a few other YouTube channels and projects that I currently work on, from podcasts to my X2 gaming channel. Well, I've decided to make a place where I can put a bunch of clips that are under a minute long that are either funny or informative that I think you guys might like. I'm putting it there so they don't clog up the main channel. I'm going to try to put one or two highlights there a day, so I'll link to that down below. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Alright, so today I thought I'd take a closer look at some of the walkers of the First Order, and this video idea sort of came about after my friend Haley sent me a message on Twitter with some art showing a First Order walker in higher clarity than I've ever seen it before. And if you don't recognize this vehicle, well, you're probably not alone. Most people don't even know that the First Order has a variety of walker types that they employ throughout the sequel trilogy, so that's what we'll be looking at today. First of all, everyone knows the AT-M6, the All-Terrain Mega Caliber 6. That's the big gorilla walker that the First Order uses at the Battle of Crate. Now, alongside that, they also have their own version of the AT-ST, probably actually my favorite looking AT-ST. There's something quite menacing about it, alongside the First Order's own version of an AT-AT. Those are, however, just the obvious walkers. There are actually a lot more featured in the sequel trilogy, although they're very difficult to spot. Before I really get into the list, I will note that there was a walker cut from The Last Jedi that still appeared in Lego form. I don't think it was very viable because of how complex the leg mechanisms were, and technically you can count the thing that pulls the First Order's miniature super laser on Crate a walker as well. Let's start with The Force Awakens. So canonically, there are actually two different walker types seen within that movie, although I'm not actually sure if the distinction was intended by the time of the film's release. So at Starkiller Base, during the destruction of Hosnian Prime and during other scenes, you can see the All-Terrain Mobile Artillery, the ATMA. Today on Instagram, James Klein posted a picture of a concept for the First Order walker in The Force Awakens, and this was the image Haley sent me. You can see this is clearly the walker that we see on Starkiller Base. It's unique because it doesn't have the traditional AT-AT head, rather it's just replaced with some blaster cannons, and is also substantially shorter. You can see what would be a stormtrooper there as a comparison size. This fits fairly well with what we see of the ATMA during the movie itself, and there's just some really nice detail there. I'm not sure I really love the design, but I'm still happy it exists, and I'm happy we got to have now a closer look at the actual concept art itself. The interesting thing, however, was the description, which says close-up of the droid walker from the previous posted image, basically a small walker with its head lopped off. Always a fun challenge to work within guidelines, but at the same time offering something new. And if you go to this previous image, you can see the walkers again, this time on the grounds of Starkiller Base as some X-Wings are flying by. Now, I didn't actually see these in the Art of the Force Awakens book. I flipped through it very quickly, it's quite long, but I didn't see these images compared with, for example, this image of cut walkers, which never actually made it into the movie. So this may be the best look we've actually got of these vehicles, with prior images from the art book looking like this. Again, I could be wrong, it may be there somewhere, I just did a quick look through. Either way, I don't think that's super important. Why this is interesting is because there's another walker in The Force Awakens that you can see as the Millennium Falcon is crashing. It looks very spider-like, and it seems like some material has made that into a new walker, the All-Terrain Patrol Droid. Now, I don't have any of the Star Wars reference books that actually talks about this thing. However, in a YouTube video on Star Wars Kids called Every Droid in Star Wars, this vehicle in particular is highlighted as the All-Terrain Patrol Droid, while the other First Order walker isn't. Now, are they different? It's kind of hard to say. To me, they look very similar, especially when you get a closer look at how the legs on the ATMA actually move. That being said, the droid in this screenshot does seem to be sort of spindly, so I guess they're different. It's confusing because this concept art shows these walkers crossing the surface of Starkiller Base, sort of like the droids do here, and what's more, Klein refers to them specifically in both Instagram posts as droid walkers, then also says you might find them in the deep background of the parade grounds. Star Wars on the Front Lines does actually have a picture of the ATPD. Now, does this look more like the walker that we see on the surface of Starkiller Base when the Falcon lands? I really don't know. For me though, not really. This looks more like something of Republic origin. But anyway, moving on. We also get another unique walker in episode 9. That's the Urban Assault Tripod Transport. I actually didn't recognize this or notice this my first couple of times watching the movie. I just thought this was an ATST. You see it on Kijimi. It's sort of like an ATST, but elongated and with this extra grappling arm. The description says that the third arm is specifically for moving debris or for assaulting enemies in a closed environment like a cityscape. I wish we would have got more of this one. It really reminds me of something, but I'm just not sure what. It certainly got a War of the Worlds vibe in this screenshot. Anyway, before we end this video, we'll take a second to answer a hashtag AskEck question of the day. And again, this is brought to you by the new X Reels channel. Anyway, sort of on topic for today's video, we have a question from Mike, who says, I really wonder what the state of the galaxy is post-Exegol. Also, what is the in-universe time span of the sequel trilogy? So, the sequel trilogy takes place over a pretty limited amount of time compared to the original and prequel trilogies, which I think is perhaps one of the weaknesses of the sequel trilogy. Of course, episode 7, episode 8 take place within days, and then there's about a year gap between episode 8 and episode 9. As for what will the state of the galaxy be post-Exegol, for me this is where there is, I think, a bit more room to tell interesting stories. I think they messed up a little bit with the state of the galaxy after the original trilogy. Before the sequel trilogy, I think there was a time to tell stories about the Warlord era there, about sort of ex-Imperials like a Thrawn trilogy as we had in Star Wars Legends. I think canon is now trying to go and do that, so I don't necessarily suspect that we will have Imperials being the major villains in the new era, although it's possible. I think there's gotta be First Order holdouts across the galaxy. I mean, the New Republic has no navy, whether there is a New Republic that's going to be formed or some other new government. It was really the citizens of the galaxy which defeated the First Order at the Battle of Exegol and was routing them across the galaxy apparently. So that means that there will be no central government to stand up to whatever's left. So there's some interesting room for stories there. I hope we learn them eventually. My theory is that we'll see the new Rogue Squadron series tackle that. I do think that will be set after episode 9, but those are just my thoughts. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Would you like to see a video entirely on the state of the galaxy after the Battle of Exegol? Let me know that and more down below. Till next time guys, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.